Hello, and welcome to our channel, MarshStream, your public performance broadcast platform. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. You can also donate to our tip jar and support the arts and artists of MarshStream by clicking the link below in the description. Check out our website, themarsh.org, for all upcoming live performances. Now, enjoy the show.
Hi, my name is Ipeleng. One word, I-P-E-L-E-N-G. If you want to get technical, sounds more like E-P-A-Y-L-A-Y-A-N-G. Ipeleng. Classic Setswana, South African. Be happy, praise, rejoice. Be proud. Thanks. I like it too. You know what else I like? Jokes. One of the longest running ones in my family is that I can barely pronounce my name because I was raised in the United States of New York City, the Heights, Uptown. I'm straight out of 790, the Riviera, 157th and Riverside Drive. I'm one of South Africa's children who sacrificed having a father for the liberation of the people of South Africa. No, not because my daddy was an immigrant. My story ain't got squat to do with immigration. On my maternal side, I'm a descendant of enslaved Africans. Our great migration story begins in Arkansas, continues to Oakland, then New York. For all intents and purposes, my pops was a terrorist. Exactly. Like Black Jesus himself. You know who I'm talking about. The one whose iconic status has surpassed the saintly and angelic realm. Madiba, Tata Mandela. Oh, I can't stand bandwagon Mandela people. The ones that have no relationship, no knowledge of when men and women like my father, card-carrying members of the African National Congress of South Africa, the ANC, were considered terrorists. Yep. As recent as 2008. Yep. Madam Secretary Ms. Condoleezza Rice herself, she had to get him club courtesy to fly into these United States. Yep. Tata Mandela, the saint, the Nobel Prize winner, the former South African president. 2008, he was still on the United States terrorism watch list. Let that sink in. Oh, I sound bitter? My bad. I've been lightweight bitter since like 1976, December the 12th, to be exact. It's my 7th birthday, and I'm hanging out with my imaginary friend, Janine. Mommy hasn't gotten home from work yet. I'm wearing my favorite peach sparkle skirt, my dancing school leotard, and my favorite ring. It's see-through, amber color, crystal, or plastic with a furry dead tarantula buried right in the middle. It's so scary, but I love it. I don't wear it all the time like my dance outfit. Sometimes it scares me. I don't know. I get nervous and might crawl out or something. Mommy says it won't, that I'm just being silly still. It's real pretty. And Papa got it for me just before he left to go to Tanzania. We stopped at this store by Columbia on 106th and Broadway, coming home from the movies. We'd seen a double feature, Uptown Saturday Night and Let's Do It Again, at a movie theater by the Deuce, the Criterion on 45th and Broadway. Janine, which one do you like more? Uptown Saturday Night or Let's Do It Again? I loved Uptown Saturday Night, I think. Or maybe it was Let's Do It Again. All I know is I loved one of them so much. I laughed so hard. I peed on myself right in the middle of me and Papa's movie date. I'm so grateful I was with Papa when my bladder broke. Mommy did not play that. Mommy was the disciplinarian, especially around appearances. Mommy was old school, post-war, bohemian, revolutionary, high-achieving, stateside Black. Mommy loved hard, she had high standards, and she did not fuck around. Papa, on the other hand, he was chill. He had nothing to prove. He was totally unfazed. And by unfazed, I mean drunk. And by drunk, I mean, you know how a lot of people go crazy over the smell of babies? Well, for most of my life, that's been me and men and the smell of whiskey, beer, tobacco, and a blunt on their breath. Smells just like sunshine, babies, and white jasmine. Soothing, comforting, safe, masculine, protective. Reminds me of sitting on my daddy's lap as a little girl. Like what men who live and love and fuck and break hearts and are doing big things in this world should smell of. Yo, that's my chi. Even after Papa got sober, just call me Jay Woozy, drunk in love over dudes with a U on their chest. Unavailable, and the stench of brown liquor and beer on their breath. I know, classy. Before the movies, Papa and I were at the UN visiting an uncle at one of those UN bars, high up in the sky. You see Das Hammerside Plaza and a sea of flags from all over the world. I see Papa, Uncle Toya, Uncle Copes, Uncle Lee, Shirley Temples, whiskey, the clinkety clanking of ice cubes, and a whole lot of love. In those years, it didn't matter if you were ANC, PAC, Black Consciousness, a Trotskyite, or whatever. In those years, we were bound as South Africans. Also, at that time, in my daddy's eyes, I was just a child, a little girl. I was free. Janine, shh. We gotta keep our voices down. Mommy's gonna be home in a little bit. You know I'm not allowed to have company when she's not home. Okay. Do you know where Tanzania is? Do you know where in Africa? My daddy lives there. He teaches at the University of Dar es Salaam. Papa had spent the summer with us in New York. I just knew my parents were getting back together. Never mind, he slept on the couch most nights. He had a lot of nightmares. Do you talk in your sleep, Janine? Mommy says I grind my teeth. Moving to Africa was totally out of the question for Mommy. She was like, I don't have no family there. I hated that. I did. What did you call your father, Janine? He's my main man. Me, I'm Big Mama. I was a really big baby. Plus, Papa says I have to learn to be a really big girl right now. Sometimes I call myself Harriet Tubman. It's how I sign all my letters to Papa. Ipeleng, Harriet Tubman, Kgositsile. I never ran my train off the track and I never lost a passenger. Papa's coming back, Janine. I know he does. I know he is. He always does. Papa spent a lot of time on the road. He was a working poet. In fact, I'm told when I was a little girl and adults would ask me how Papa was, my response, he's at the airport. Something about this, though, was different. You go first. Janine wants to play hopscotch. Yeah, my mother let me draw it. It is a bright red hopscotch court and smelly 1970s permanent magic marker on my bedroom floor. We don't have TV. I come from creative people. Shh, be quiet, Janine. I'll be right back. I hear Mommy coming through the front door. Hi, Mommy. Apes, calm down. Big Mama, Happy birthday. Thank you, Mommy. How was school today? There's a package here from your father. Ooh, yay! Mother, may I help you? Thank you, sweetheart. I help Mommy unload her packages on the couch. She hands me mine. I open it. Inside, there's an ivory bracelet. Oh, look, Mommy. It's beautiful. Mommy, look. Mommy's not really paying attention. I see tears in her eyes. What's wrong? Nothing, Mama. Allergies. Open the rest of your package. Inside, there's a letter and a poem. Letter to Ipeleng on her birthday, 1976. Letter to Ipeleng on her birthday, 1976. But Daddy, I thought you was my main man. Yes, Mama, you know I am, said her father. Then how come you won't tell me what the teacher said? I'm sorry, Ibi, I was lying. Your teacher said nothing to me. You know what, Daddy? I think it's about time we stop lying to each other. 1975. This is how my father starts the poem, a dialogue of he and I talking. I don't know which teacher he's talking about or what incident he's referring to, but that's what he wrote. And then he ends it with me telling him, I think it's about time we stop lying to each other. The poem continues in his own voice. What is it on your birthday you want your main man to tell your peers who do not have the luxury of childhood or the tyranny of fear? How shall I say happy birthday to you today when young blood flows down ghetto and small town streets, where butcher savages practice their orgies with jackboots, bayonets, and bullets? He is not much older than you who said, Father, you cannot go to work. Today, we will need someone to bury us. That you must know is fidelity to life, not the slime of death-bound resignation. And your peers do not have the luxury of childhood and the tyranny of fear. He was much older than you who said, Afrikaans, the language in a lager, was not the issue. That is a simple call to liberation in our lifetime. Not that it could ever be without pain. Not that the young skull smashed to pulp under fascist jackboot could not be your very own. But that the young blood that flows down those ghetto and small town streets cannot be in vain. And your peers do not have the luxury of childhood or the tyranny of fear. In our land, fear is dead. The young are no longer young. The youth called to spear of the nation to teach us the way and the means to liberation in our lifetime. And you must possess and be possessed by 1,000 thundering voices which call you from the place of the sinking sun. Because your peers do not have the luxury of childhood and the tyranny of fear. Remember this, there is no birth without blood. Liberation in our lifetime is the only gateway to happy birthday. So, yeah. This is what Papa was up to when he left the States to take up a teaching position at the University of Dar. In his letter, he also mentioned something about teaching an ANC school in Morogoro, a town roughly 4 hours from Dar. Morogoro is the nerve center of MK, Umkhonto we Sizwe, the spear of the nation, the armed military wing of the ANC, the African National Congress of South Africa, co-founded by Nelson Mandela in 1961, the year my father left South Africa, a political refugee. Yet another reason I cringe every time I see this image of Madiba, the saint. Spear of the nation that Papa speaks of when he says the young are no longer young, the youth call to spear of the nation is a shout out to MK. So getting this poem, I feel a whole lot of things. One, I'm honored. I feel special. It's my birthday poem. In my eyes, this is my version. Excuse me, my daddy's version of Stevie Wonder's Isn't She Lovely? Isn't She Wonderful? I'm like Aisha. I'm special. Your daddy probably chases dead presidents. My daddy is beholden to struggle. He writes and dedicates poems to me about it. Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonderful? Two, some of these words are hard to pronounce. I mean, let's be real. 7-year-old me knew words like imperialism and lumpen proletariat. But jackboot, bayonet, lager, Mommy, what's a lager? Big Mama, you know where to find a dictionary. We have plenty. Look it up. Yes, Mother. Lager. Noun, South Africa. A defensive encampment encircled by armored vehicles or wagons. Made popular by the Boers, also known as Afrikaners, the descendants of South Africa's first Dutch settlers who arrived in 1652. Your peers do not have the luxury of childhood or the tyranny of fear. What is Papa talking about? Other children aren't afraid. Children in South Africa don't have fear. Is Papa saying, I can't be afraid? I'm scared of the dark. I get scared when I knock on Mommy's door and she doesn't wake up in the morning. If this tarantula jumps out of this ring right now, I'll be the first person flying out of that exit door right there. Papa is crazy. Don't be afraid. You know what, Janine? I'm going to tell Papa about you when I write to him. So I say to my imaginary friend, Janine, I think he's right. We do need to stop lying to each other. Finally, I'm sad. And there's not a single person in my world I can tell this to. Not Janine, not Snoopy, not Woodstock, my baby alive, not mommy. She says her tears are allergies. Not Papa. He's miles and miles away. No auntie, no uncle, no friend, no one. Liberation in our lifetime, the only gateway to happy birthday. Ipeleng means be happy, but I can never be happy. Happy is in the future, not the here and now. Yeah, my very own name doesn't guarantee me a seat into the kingdom of happiness. Kgositsile, that's my last name. It means the king has come. Middle name, Aneb, Arabic, black grape. Ipeleng Aneb Kgositsile. Be happy, black grape, the king has come. Now looking back, there are three things that stand out for me about this birthday. One, the seed is planted. Baba's obsession, freedom and liberation for the people of South Africa becomes my rival sibling. Two, just like that, yours truly, cursed with nostalgia and entitlement, what I like to call bitterness, at the tender age of 6 going on 7 years old. 3, fear is dead. Huh. My sister, my brother, the struggle is brave. I'm not. I want somebody to rescue me. Fear is dead. No way in the world I can begin to live up to or top that kind of expectation. You guessed it. I catch my first case of the fuck it. Everything my rival sibling represents, I'm not just going out of my way. I'm going balls to the wall in defiance of everything she represents. Fuck it.
Wow, come on back, Ipeleng. Okay. I just want to bask in that for a minute here. Wow. And thank you for sharing that. So, I first saw you perform. I think it was back in September, as part of David Ford's class, and I think the seed of this was there then. Can can you, and from your bio I know that you know the this, and from the piece itself we know this source material goes way back for you. um how long have you actively been developing this as a play?
Okay, first things first. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Number 2, as a play, it's been an idea for about 5 years, and I am a very slow worker, so it goes on and off.
And, you know, the work has to come in its time, and you have so much here. By the way, audience, if you have questions or comments, please throw them in the chat. I don't have to do all the talking, but I could certainly ask you an awful lot here. I mean, there's so much here. I was just thinking the other day about being in school, and when apartheid was this thing that had to be fought, that at the time seemed like it wasn't going to go away, or I and and you bring it back that this was not that long ago, that um, that this kind of burden on the world and on our souls doesn't go away. So I have to ask you then, this idea of, the means to liberation in our lifetime. Um, how does this looking back at the past feel to you in today's uh, in today's reality, and how do the two bounce off each other in your
I'm not
mind? Or
sure. I'm not sure if I exactly understand the question.
maybe a simpler way of putting it would be to ask you, do you feel things have gotten any better?
In
um,
South Africa or in
well,
the world?
both.
I think that yes, I think things are always getting better. And I think that even within even within all the crazy pandemics that we live in, whether they're medical, whatever all those isms are, right?
Yeah.
There's still progress. We go forward, we circle back. We go forward, it's forward, back. I mean, that's what we do.
And it's great to hear you say that kind of reflects on something I was thinking that Wind actually just threw in the chat, asking, do you still have sibling rivalry with the struggles for liberation? I can't imagine that pain.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. Well, because a child, well, I don't because I understand that what I'm an adult now, right? I'm not 7 years old, right? Neither am I 20 or what have you. But what I mean when I say that is, when people are pulled and passionate about stuff and change, like if you're compelled and pulled, like that's what it is. And in some families, family life suffers. In other places, it might be something else. But I don't know. That's not my issue now.
Okay. Yeah. Um, I just, I just, when you said it, I just went, huh. Such a simple line. So why am I having
But I
trouble
think
finding
it's
it?
how I felt. But I think that probably also at that time, I think to be in, I don't think that it's unique to me to be, to have a family member or a parent who is preoccupied with a something outside of what's individual, right?
Mhm.
I just think that the difference in my family is that the work was noble.
And the way we see your 7-year-old self kind of processing that and taking that on, is really beautiful, even as it's a little heartbreaking to see this little girl being foisted with this burden. We listen to this poem, and we go, "Holy!" I cannot imagine how I might have reacted to that, or even if I could have processed it the way you did. It just struck me when your character says, Papa was a working poet, and you say, I come from creative people, and the way your character wears that as an identity, as a self, is really beautiful. Um, so where are you going next with this? We hope we'll see more of the work. You are continuing this as
I
a
am
full.
continuing this. I am very fortunate to be able to work with David Ford and some other wonderful people, right? Um, to continue just sort of biting away with this, right?
Were you working with them on this segment that you did here? It shows
Yes.
I thought it was absolutely beautiful. Your grasp of language just really struck me that first time I saw you perform David's class back last
Thank
year.
you.
But your use of the space here and of the screen, and your young self, and you have such a beautiful expressive face, and the changes you're able to create from being up high or a profile to a straight on is really wonderful, and I think you used that beautifully. So bravo to you and your collaborators for creating this piece for Zoom. um, Very beautifully done.
Thank you so much.
So thank you so much for joining us. For those of you in the audience, if you have friends who you weren't able to be here, this will be archived on our YouTube channel. Go to themarch.org and there's a button for our YouTube channel. So tell your friends, this is extraordinary work, and we're so glad that you could share it with us, and we hope you'll be back with us for more, maybe even live when that gets to happen too.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you everyone in the audience, and
and thank you, Brianna.
Yeah, thanks, Brianna, and everyone have a great week. Thanks for being here, everybody, and yeah, link to the tip jar also there if you can support us with a donation. So Ipeleng, lots of luck with further iterations, and we'll look forward to it. Everyone,
Okay.
take care. Have a great